According to the lease agreement, the money generated from the sales price, if somewhere down in the next 5 years...
What I believe it says is if the project does not succeed and go forward, and if there would be a lease arrangement, if there would be a sale, the money would first go back to Wings Enterprises from where the money came to begin with.
$2 million plus 6% interest.
If there's enough money to do that. And I mean, there are a number of what I've heard to be opinions of value. The appraisal that was done for the city, I believe, was $1.8 million. I believe PPG at one time was $2.2 million. But each of those appraisals had very, very significant comments upon that these are somewhat speculative because of the nature of the property, the history of the property, the restrictions on the property. If, as some of you folks are suggesting, this is like this, I don't know if Mr. Kerr has ever made a $5 million offer to PPG.
$5.4 million. I actually showed the actual.
But that's fine. I mean, you say you've seen it. I haven't. What Mr. Kerr privately contracted or attempt to offer to PPG was never disclosed to
But he actually made it to the city, to township.
Ma'am, I disagree. I've seen a document, which was a partial document, which never had a dollar figure, and I could not decipher it from a legal perspective of exactly what it meant. So what I would say to you is if Mr. Kerr thinks his property, if let's say Mr. Kennedy's corporation is not successful, and Mr. Kerr wants to buy it for $6 million or whatever the number might be at that time, and this is completely hypothetical, yes, Wings would receive back its $2.2 million plus a nominal interest rate, and the city would retain the rest. But remember, from whence the money originally came.
But in normal business transactions, when you make a business transaction and your business transaction doesn't make it, you don't get your money back.
Ma'am, this is a situation where Wings Enterprises is putting up the $2.2 million.
But we could get the money from other places, so it wasn't the only option.
Ma'am, I'm not saying, what I'm sharing with you is we, the city, made a presentation to PPG. PPG, I'm assuming, we were told there were other offers. We were told after the fact, we've heard American Milling made an offer, we've heard Mr. Kerr made an offer, we know the city made an offer, we believe there may have been another one. We don't have any insight in the deliberative process done by PPG in how they decided to select the bid of the city. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how PPG agreed upon that. But I'm assuming they were comfortable with the presentation that was made.
Do you know why the rest of the council members were not given the letter about the insurance liability issue?
No, ma'am, I have no idea. I have no idea.
As the council, the people who are supposed to be making the decisions and actually have the voting power, aren't they the ones who are supposed to be fully informed?
Ma'am, if some council members have not seen that, I'm not aware of it. And
none of the council members had seen it until.
Okay, and ma'am, I don't, with all respect, I don't have the letter with me. Mr. Becker said it was back in September. After he mentioned it, I know there was a conversation between him and our office. I know we've supplied some documents to him. I had not heard anything back. I did not think there were truly any outstanding issues. And from what I've heard Mr. Becker say tonight, is he is comfortable that there are not any issues or liability or exposure issues at this time. So,
well, when you read the letter, you find out that there are exposure issues. And my suggestion as the lawyer of this deal is that you go back and read the document.
Okay, ma'am, I cannot sit here and share with you, because it was over 2 months ago, all the details of that letter. I will assure you our office did review it. We did correspond with Mr. Becker, and I believe the issues are properly addressed. So,
were there any any changes made to the contract in regards to any of the legal issues any of the liability issues that were brought up in about insurance?
No.
So no changes made to the contract. And you have no plans to do it unless Mr. Becker comes forward and says, you guys need to look at this again.
Ma'am, I don't know this. When you say no changes made to the contract, the city cannot unilaterally change documents and legal documents that have already been signed. If it would be appropriate to address any issues in the future, we could possibly address it. But as I stand here before you tonight, I'm not aware of any further issues that need to be addressed.
Well, one of the things that Mayor Schiller had brought up at a previous meeting was that when we talked about the fact that the schools were going to be shorted $24,000 a year for 5 years. What the question was is, what's going to happen about that? And he said that there's making amendments to the contract to address that issue. Have there been amendments done to the contract?
Ma'am, my understanding is that a proposal has been made by Wings Enterprises to the county assessor to assure that the bonus value of the lease that they would be having would be assessed at the same level as the PPG property, so that there would be no change in tax revenue.
Is that in writing somewhere?
My understanding is a letter has been sent. I have a copy of a letter that I understood was sent to the county assessor from Wings Enterprises, and I cannot tell you anything more than that because I'm not any further contact. But in my opinion, there is not going to be any lost revenue to the city or any other taxing entities.
But do you know that for sure?
I'm not quite sure how you can say I know it for sure. I believe that Wings has proposed and has submitted, and I cannot speak for the assessor because I don't know. But
as a lawyer, don't you require that to see proof of that?
Ma'am, at this time, I can't speak for the assessor. I can't tell the assessor what to do. If Mr. Kennedy and his counsel, his attorney, have said we have sent a letter to the assessor requesting that the assessed value of the property not be decreased. I'm proceeding on the assumption that's how the matter will proceed. Now, I can't do anything in my position. I can't do anything more than that. Now, I might need to ask you a favor. I have a very sick daughter at home and a wife who's exhausted, and I promised I would try to get home as soon as possible. So I thank you for your courtesy.